right, you all. I'm back. I'm going live today, right before the new year. So there are some things. Hold on, let me make sure my volume over here is messing up. So I'm going to. Okay. All right. So I'm going live one more time before the beginning of the new year because some things are heating up with immigration. And there is the talk now of immigration moratorium. I am so excited about it because it is something that some of us in the movement have been campaigning for as soon as administration got into office. Because one of the major agendas or part of his agenda, the Trump administration agenda, was to make sure they deport, right, the illegal aliens. And now, along with that, we may also, well, it's going to happen. I'm calling it out. It's going to happen. We will now have an immigration moratorium. We're seeing more of the politicians speak about the immigration moratorium. I am very excited because Stephen Miller, literally on national news, stated that it's time for immigration moratorium. So during this live today, we're going to talk about the impact of immigration, whether it's legal or illegal, that has had impacted our community, the Freedmen community, for the last, oh my God, we've been in a holding pattern with this, right? Our ancestors went through it in the 1800s, 1900s. We've been going through it now, right? We're seeing and we're feeling the effects of immigration. It doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. We are impacted as the freedmen. So we're going to talk about that today. And then also the fact that the Trump administration is even saying, hey, hold up, right? Too much immigration is affecting the Americans, and it's affecting America. And the first thing that I want to talk about is that I want to say this to us. Okay. I want to say this to us. Immigrants have now flooded this country and now making a statement that really gets on my nerves. And I can't see how we as freedmen can allow them to continue to say this. America was built by immigrants. Okay. And I'm going to just say this. Any and everything in America is the freedmen. Any and everything in America, it is the freedmen, right? Because we've been here before the inception of a nation called the United States of America, right? And it is known that also we were here and built one of the oldest towns and oldest fort and settlements in America. Okay, so America is ours. It's our country. It's our homeland. We've been here doing the work. We built, developed, and advanced this civilization, this society into a first world nation and superpower. That is the freedmen. We've been here from the very beginning. So immigrants come here. Immigrants come here for our resources. They're coming here for the resources that we and opportunities we have created in this country. Because I'm gonna highlight how many industries we're very instrumental in right now, and we're seeing immigrants in these industries, and they were never here to even create, do any work and build these industries. Okay, so with that, we're a founding population. Again, we've done the work to build, develop, and advance this nation. So never think that we should have to come from a place of lack in our country, and especially in 2025. There's no reason why we have to team up with anybody for our resources that are ours. So I just wanted to start with that. Now, of course, you all know I have announcements and an agenda. So one of the announcements is sign the petition. I have a petition going around, or the Freedmen Descendants Advocacy Group. We have a petition where we are actually delineating, ethno-aggregating, aka separating to have our own so that we are not in the pot with immigrants that are now trying to say we are immigrants in our own country. So when I state that we built America and we developed it, those are true words. And advanced this nation. Those are true words. Those are true statements that can be documented. It can be cited sources via our federal government, right? And I'm gonna show some of that. So let me get to my agenda. That's the one announcement, and the other announcement I already made it. Excuse me. Quit taking yourself off your soil and out of your country. Your ancestors have done a great deal of work for you to be here today to enjoy the benefits of what they created, what they worked hard for, and then elders as well, and then you, right? We're still here in this country working, doing the work, building it, advancing it, because we're still creating. Your most modern day technology is still coming from us. So I'm going to share my screen first. I'm gonna find my personal video where I literally was asking and campaigning for an immigration moratorium. And I was stating this at the beginning of the year, asking folks to also join in the campaign so that this administration would understand that we're all for not only deportations, but we are for you halting everything with immigration, right? So I'm gonna get to my post. I'm gonna show you my post. So, people can say, oh, you're talking about it, but are you really about it? About it? I'm about it, y'all. I'm about it. So I'm not just talking. This is policy that will only help us to get back into our rightful position in our country, where now we see many immigrants in our politics. We see them speaking as if they are us, and they are not. Everybody wants to be black now. No, black is only for the freedmen. There's no other black people in America. The only black people in America are the freedmen, as black is a racial, or it's a social, race is a social construct created in America to specifically harm and injure the freedmen. You have black laws, aka Jim Crow, that happened here in America to hinder and harm or injure the freedmen. It ain't got nothing to do with an immigrant that just came to this soil. I don't care if they're melanated or not, they're not black. I just want to put that out there. So why people up here claiming an immigrant is black when our history does not show they were on this soil being harmed and injured due to race. Hence the reason why we had a civil rights movement that they even benefit from. I don't want to get off topic, but we know white women are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action, along with Asians, along with gay white men, and also the recent melanated arrivals. And when you look at the registrations or the admissions for the Ivy League schools that our ancestors built with slave labor, they're the ones going to the Ivies, not the descendants under affirmative action. Come on now, we're going to talk about it. All right, so I'm going to get ready. I'm going to share my screen because I want you all to see my video that I made at the beginning of this year to make sure that I was engaging the Trump administration on an immigration moratorium. Okay? And we're going to share, I'm going to share it. Now, in September, after I teamed up with Numbers USA, and you will see that I have actually tagged the Trump administration in the videos. So it's a real short video. I'm gonna go ahead and play for you so you can see it. It's on my page, but let's look at it.
Hi, I'm Conswello Davis. I am the director of Freedmen Descendants Advocacy Group, and I'm making this video because I want the Congress people to know and understand that as a freedman, I stand with the Trump administration and them ending birthright citizenship as it has been weaponized against the freedmen. And the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment is flawed to include illegal immigration. And with that, I'm advocating to the Trump administration that we implement an immigration moratorium.
Okay, so that's my video. Now, reason why I decided to hold. Oh, hold on. Sorry, it's still going. The reason I decided to make this video again because there is a plan for us to ethno aggregate, delineate, and separate. And so earlier this week, I saw a video of a black male. I take he's Freedman, and I take he's us. When I say black male, I take it he's a Freedman, and he's expressing how the American government should just go ahead and make sure we have our 15, 20 states, and we able to do us, right? So I'm gonna play this video for you all, and I want you all to my phone. I want you all to listen to what the white man has to say after what the brother is stating, right? So it's like they want to keep us in this conundrum, and there's no way we should be accepting of them determining our destiny, especially at this present point in time where we could see how immigrants are now in positions of power and claiming that this is a nation of immigrants and that they built this nation. So, that to me is like, wow, that they're now bold enough to be writing the history of America and writing us out of our history. We have got to be more diligent in what we're doing as a people and as the Americans, the freedmen. So let me find, there's a couple videos I am going to go to, but we're going to get to this one first because to hear this black man or male state this openly, I was so excited because this is, to me, the direction we should be going so that we're not coming back into these positions where we're having to fight for what is ours, where we're having to even fight to make sure our history is told, right? Because it's not, they want to blame Trump for it. It's not Trump, it's the immigrants. And it's the immigrants that are actually in politics that are also bringing over the illegals to replace you, right? Because that's literally what's happening. The immigrants are now, and I say immigrants, I mean the legal immigrants are now in positions of power, and they're now making sure they remove the Americans, whether we're freedmen or the Mayflowers or the Wasps. This is what is happening. So hold on, dang, where is that video? I know I retweet you all so much, but I'm going to find that video because that particular video is what motivated me to hold this live before the ending of the year. Here we go. Before the ending of the year, considering that we're going to see what happens next year. What is literally going to happen next with immigration? A great deal of politicians now claiming we need an immigration moratorium. And that is something we were already campaigning on. Look at God. Look at God. Okay, to this video, and I really want, you all, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this one, though. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
15% of the land mass of the United States turn it over to black people and call it Black America.
But we still have to look at a solution of how do you pull yourself out of that. I think
Easy
black
solution.
people need to maybe work together.
You know what the solution is?
What's that?
Real simple. The United States has 50 states, right?
Yeah.
Black people are 15% of the population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take 15% of the land mass of the United States, turn it over to black people and call it Black America. Let them establish a government, get the CIA out of our neighborhoods, and we'll migrate the hell up out of here, give you every beautiful city, and we'll go build an empire like you've never seen before.
Yeah, see, I'm not
solution,
that.
problem solved.
Oh man, like I get to be the dick, don't I? Fuck yeah, I do. Son of a bitch. I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I didn't even want to make this fucking video because I was just like, but we're gonna have a heart to heart. Real quick, why are we trying to segregate again? I thought we fought like hell for y'all to not be segregated. Also, I don't think you quite took a lot of shit into account because I don't think majority of your people would want to live in a place where it's strictly your people. I don't think you quite understand. Every other race on the planet can work well together, but your race doesn't work well together. Okay, you always try to take out the op. You try to take out somebody who's better than you. Again, that's just a factual fucking statement. And then you take into account the levels of crime, the amount of percentages of your people that are committing. Do you think where you're going to create is going to be something that's like a fucking utopia and people are going to want to come there? Spoiler alert, homie, it's not going to work out like that. Do you need further evidence? Go look at fucking Kenya. Look at any Africa. Look at any. Y'all.
Okay. Um, I stopped sharing. I stopped sharing because um, I stopped sharing because first of all, he is evident he doesn't know the history of America. We were already living amongst ourselves, doing very well, right? The only reason we fought for what we call integration is we wanted the economics, right? We wanted the economics so that the taxes we were paying into this country should be coming back to our communities, which they were not. Hence the reason why I created, and some others align with us restructuring, establishing our Bureau of Freedmen Affairs, whereas all of our money, right, that we pay into the American government comes back to us so that we build our communities, so that we are making sure we have our resources that everybody is getting right now off of our backs while we get nothing, right? Our communities are dilapidated, even though we have paid into a system for years, even before our ancestors. Some of them paid into it and still could not receive any of the resources. And you all, when I mentioned resources, I mean from veterans, right, coming back after fighting wars, Homestead Acts, anything that others that are immigrants that came to America and received handouts and welfare that we never received, even though we worked for it, right? That's what I'm talking about. And so now you got people, white men especially, upset when we say, hey, we want our autarky, our autonomy, our independence, and we're going to do us in these 15, he says 15 states, I say 20. All right, that's where I'm at. And I say the 20 states because of where we were in building out this country, even after the inception of a nation. And it was no longer the 13, 15, or 15 colonies. That's where I'm at, right? So now, with that, You heard him talking and speaking, right? As if he's contributed and has equity in this country. But with that, I'm going to move on to where now we have Stephen Miller, we have Steve Bannon, we have Chip Roy, and we have Andy Ogles, right? All speaking about immigration, stopping the impact of immigration. And these are the people that we definitely want removed off the soil, that want to come here and dictate to the freedmen and tell us what we can and can't have in our country. See, that is a video. I played that video because that's a video of, most likely, you all know, he is an immigrant. He's most likely an Ellis Islander and has never contributed anything to America. But at the same time, he wants to speak on what we, us, the Americans, should do and how we should move. And this is what is happening with a lot of the immigrants on this soil right now. Why I'm very excited. I'm so excited about what the Trump administration is getting ready to do in the new year. And yes, we know some of them are immigrants too, but at least they are American. They have assimilated, and they are about America, making Americans first. And I'm all about making Americans first. So let me find, I got to find the Stephen Miller, because he's a part of the Trump administration. And he said it out his mouth. He literally said the words immigration moratorium. Let me go get Stephen Miller. And then we're going to move to Steve Bannon is now saying it. So it's catching fire, and I'm excited about it. So hold on, let's see, Stephen Miller. And we're going to talk, this is something we need to make sure that our people understand this is happening. You have a lot of people in certain spaces that are claiming that it's not going to happen. Yes, it's happening. It is definitely happening. And we cannot, at this point in time, I'm not about to fight for immigrants. I'm all about Americans first and freedmen first. Okay, so we're gonna play this clip so people know. Nothing I'm saying is a lie. Nothing I'm saying is a lie. It is happening. Moratorium in America. I'm so excited. That's a great Christmas gift. It's a great way to start the new year. Because not only are we going to get these people out, and they're talking about denaturalizing folks if they've received their citizenship fraudulently. It's all good over here. Okay. So having the Trump administration in doing this work, I'm very thrilled. But let's listen to this with Stephen Miller.
Need to have in this country exactly what President Trump called for, which is that we need a moratorium on immigration from third world countries until we can heal ourselves as a nation, solve our education issues, solve our healthcare issues, our public safety issues, our assimilation issues, our cultural issues. So the 1924 Act is such a good example because we had large-scale immigration from Europe from 1880 to 1920. So in other words, we went from a country that had immigration from part of Europe to immigration from many other parts of Europe. But even other European countries pose enormous stresses on the U.S. system, both economically and in terms of security. There's a lot of public safety and order, and those were addressed with immigration quotas. What they don't teach you in school is that from 1920 to 1970, there was negative migration. There was a half century of negative migration. The foreign-born population declined by 40% for half a century. The U.S. population doubled from natural childbirth. That was the cauldron in which a unified shared national identity was formed. They went through a depression together. They went through world wars together. They landed on the moon together. This greater than American history happened at a time when there was negative migration. They don't teach that to our kids in school. And frankly, I would submit very few politicians serving in Congress probably know that.
All right. Even Stephen Miller broke it down. I'm hearing. But even Stephen Miller broke it down for us in stating that, oh, hold on. He even is stating, right, how the impact of immigration has not only impacted the Europeans on the soil and how they were even held off for a while and they were able to reproduce without the immigrants coming in. So he covered everybody. He covered third world and he covered the Europeans. That's why I had to play it. So I had to play that Stephen Miller because he didn't shy away from talking about the Europeans. So and he gonna get some points for me. Now we're gonna go to Steve Bannon. We're gonna go to Steve Bannon, where he is even talking about how we need a 10-year moratorium, no immigration whatsoever. Now, mind you, these are beings that people will tell you are all about Trump destroying America and supporting the immigrants. I hear it quite often in some of these spaces. What up? I hear it quite often, and these are lies. It's right here, right here. We're playing it right here so you can hear it for yourselves. When people say, oh, no, they're not working on immigration. They want immigration. They want to keep the immigrants here. You are. They're lying. They're only trying to keep you in a place because that's not what's happening. You're hearing it straight live from the horse's mouth. Okay, let's play it. Let's go, Steve Bannon.
Chaos at all. Just like they set up the system and the southern border with the NGOs and government to exacerbate a 15 to 20 million person in country. This is the next part. This is how they get them on welfare with your money. This is how they get them to vote. This is how they keep the Democrats in office. You got a big article today in the Guardian about the Working Families Party is now going to go nationwide because it's built upon this. This scam is very intricately put together. The machinery, every piece of the machinery is kind of works together. And that's why you need a 10-year no immigration whatsoever for any reason. None. You've got to get to the bottom of this, to root this out and to take it apart and to make sure that American citizens who work their ass off, right, to the taxes they paid are actually going to things that they support, and to make sure these people are not coming in and competing against them for jobs and for opportunities and resources. This is outrageous. This is just the tip of it. Every blue state, this is the racket. This is how they run. This is why do you think they're digging in so hard on ICE? Why do you think they're digging in so hard on sanctuary cities? Because this is the system they've built to perpetuate this radical neo-Marxist jihadist rule. Rosemary Jenks, this is why we can't do this incrementally. Oh, we're going to take this program. You got to get rid of H-1Bs, to ship them all home and give those jobs to Americans. Then a 10-year moratorium, every other program, 10-year moratorium. That's how long it's going to take to.
All right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. You heard it from even Steve Bannon is out there now stating, let me see. Even Steve Bannon is out here calling for an immigration moratorium. And you heard him say 10 years. 10 years. I've been saying 50. Okay. I would like for 50. Let us get back into our Americanness, remove those that are not supposed to be here. And then it gives us time to build out our freedmen towns and cities and make sure we have our representation, our freedmen representation on the state, local, and federal levels in offices, right? Because that's the plan. No one should be coming over here, being able to take over our land, take over our voting, and getting in position that didn't do the work, right? They are not Americans. They did not do the work. So I'm going to now go to, right, Andy Ogles. Andy Ogles, you all, he is an alumni of Middle Tennessee State University. where I graduated from as well. He's a Blue Raider. And I've known him growing up in the past, but he is now a sitting congressman. And guess what? Andy's all about repelling the Hart-Celler Act. He's in Congress right now, all about repelling the Hart-Celler Act. I'm game for that too. So let's listen to Andy Ogles as he speaks about his mission right now in Congress to remove the Hart-Celler Act. Oh no, we've been here for over 200. America's is not even, I think America's maybe 250 years old. We did 246, 47 years of slavery. I'm answering a question you all in my chat on YouTube. Someone stated, oh yeah, I've been saying 200 years, but everyone laughs when I say that. No, we've been here. We have been here. Okay, I am going to show my screen again. And I'm going through these videos to show people actively right now have individuals in Congress, part of Trump's administration or connected to Trump administration that are speaking on immigration moratorium. And the fact that we have been campaigning for this for the beginning of the year since the administration was placed into office. I voted for Trump. I have no problem saying it. I voted for Trump, and hey, this is what I voted for. This is exactly what I voted for and more, because we as freedmen got to get what is ours.
I've had enough. I've had enough.
Okay, so we as freedmen must make sure we get what is ours, and that's when I say ours, I mean resources. I mean capital, money, anything that any and everybody else is getting, it's ours. We should be having it first and foremost, prioritized. But anyway, okay, here we go. Andy Ogles. He is a Tennessee representative. He's speaking on repelling the Hart-Celler Act.
I've had enough. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Deport them all. Our country. We get to decide who comes to decide who has to leave. And I say deport them all. 90% that have come into this country are from third world countries, most of which are sucking resources from American citizens, burdening our cities. They do not belong here. I've had enough. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Deport them all. This is our country. We get to decide who comes in. We get to decide who has to leave. Deport them all. 90% that have come into this country are from third world countries, most of which are sucking resources from American citizens, burdening our cities. They do not belong here. I've had enough.
All right, well, okay, so I'm gonna stop that one. That was again Andy Ogles. You can look him up out of the state of Tennessee. I must say it. The state of Tennessee has some great representatives because they are not afraid to speak out and speak up for the American people. And they are actually pushing legislation to make sure it happens. So say his name again, Andy Ogles. And you can look up Tim Burchett as well out of Tennessee. They're on it. I must say they are on it. Tim Burchett is also a senator, and Andy Ogles is a House representative on Congress. So they are doing it. They are definitely doing it. Now, I'm going to get to Chip Roy. Chip Roy has said, you know what? We got to pause. We got to pause all immigration. And I am in agreement with Chip Roy. Now, from what I understand, Chip Roy don't even really care for Trump. But you know what? He's down with pausing the immigration. So, and we see what's happening with the Somalians, the Indians. They all are scamming. And we're going to get a little bit more into how they have been placed in industries or immigrants. right, have been placed in industries, and I've said it many a times, they have no inventions. They don't have any accolades in these particular industries, but they are definitely in the industries making the money. And those are industries that we created, that we should have our people being employed. So here we go. Let's go to Chip Roy. He's saying people need to be removed, deported, denaturalized, and sent back to Somalia. I actually want to find the one where he's talking about a pause on immigration. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that one, because he's now making sure that this is happening as he's put forth legislation. So it's going to be interesting in what happens next year, 2026. And it looks like here we go. Looks like we can get behind a great deal of these beings that are in Congress right now, speaking on immigration moratorium or a pause on immigration. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again so you all can hear and see Chip Roy as he expressed it's time for a pause. And then with Andy Ogles repelling the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, a lot going on in our favor, y'all. I love it. Okay, here we go. Chip Roy.
Democratic Party that are more interested in playing politics and trying to focus on protecting those who want to endanger Americans than standing with an Secretary Noem who want to secure Americans. So you asked me about the Pause Act. The fact of the matter is we have 51.5 million people in this country who are foreign born. That's about 16% of the population. That's higher than at any other point in our history. So go back to 1920, where we had maybe a similar percentage. It was about 15%. And we had a whole bunch of people who'd come here who, by the way, were more interested in assimilating, who were participating in schools that actually taught that America's great, and when we had no social welfare state. Today, we have millions of people who've come here who don't want to assimilate, who aren't in schools teaching that America's great, and they are on the social welfare state. We need to fix our system. We need to end diversity behind of people that allow their cousins and uncles and aunts to come in. We need to stop the abuse of H-1B visas. We need to end birthright citizenship. We need to codify what the president has done. We need to stop having taxpayer funding of illegal alien children in our schools, as we do in Texas and everywhere else. And we've got to recenter our entire immigration system. So pause and let's fix it. I think we need that for the country. We did it in 1920. Our country was stronger for that for about 4 or 5 decades. And now for 50 years, we've been blowing the lid open, including radical Muslims, radical Islamists who want to undermine Western civilization and our way of life.
There you go. There you have it.
This is the
Okay. He's speaking about the Democratic Party and what they're doing. Oh, hold on. Okay. So here you heard it from Chip Roy. He's out of Texas. He is stating that we need to put a pause on everything and get realigned. He even references what Stephen Miller spoke about as well, where they did pause immigration in the 20s. And we know what happened in the 20s, right? We had all the immigrants that come over, the Ellis Islanders. And these are the people and their descendants right now that are causing all of this chaos in America all over again, right? Because they're a part of the Democratic Party. I'm not trying to stay away from the party stuff, but at the end of the day, we know a lot of this is coming from the Democratic Party, and they will not stand down from the president and let the president do his work in making sure that Americans are first and Americans are taken care of. So with that, so those are 3 videos that I wanted. 4 videos that I wanted to show. There were 4, right? With mine included. The videos I wanted to show and how things are now progressing and manifesting in our favor, in Freedmen's favor. I'm not here to fight for immigrants. No, I'm here to fight for my descendants, my lineage, my legacy going forward in this country, because we are the Americans. And any and everything here is ours. It's not for them. So, and I don't have any problem saying that. And they have countries they can go back to, because once they destroy America, they're going to hop the ship. They're going to flee. They're going to flee right on over, back over to their country and adjust. Right? Some of them got land over in their countries right now, but coming over here and siphoning off our resources. And then we'll tell you, we'll talk about us and what we've been through and our plight and throw it up in our faces. No, you got to go. You got to go. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to highlight is we know about some of the things that have been said or the studies and the stats about the impact of immigration, whether it's legal or illegal, on the freedmen or the Black Americans, right? So with that, we know that Frederick Douglass made some statements. Initially, he was for immigration, and then he changed his mind after it actually happened and the impacts. He saw the impacts up on the freedmen. But I want to show where we have Roy Beck, and we're going to get into, no, before we go to Roy Beck, we're going to get into our ancestor, A. Philip Randolph. Now, I'm bringing up A. Philip Randolph because he was very verbal about immigration and the impact of immigration upon our people. And he literally made a quote. I posted it numerous of times about how, he would like there to be no percentage of immigration happening in America. And this is during his time in the 1920s, right? And this was that influx. So let me locate the statement from our great ancestor. Now, excuse me. A. Philip Randolph was an active individual in seeking resources for our people and also equality at the time for our people, right? Because a lot of that was about civil rights. So we know him as being a part of the Pullman porters. He was called in from outside. He wasn't a actual Pullman porter from what I understand. However, he helped come and represent on behalf of the Black men that were porters. And so in that, he spoke out against immigration. Also, he negotiated some deals for our people, right? And in that becoming a union. So when we speak about A. Philip Randolph, he's legendary. And it was through his work in the Pullman porters and how Labor Day was established. I don't know if people understand that. Labor Day was established because of the work that they did during those times in making sure that the Black men had rights, and they were also being able to work in these industries, right? So I'm gonna share my screen again because I want to put up A. Philip Randolph. We're having we got some people amongst us. We have some great ancestors that did this work, and we know right now we're not seeing a lot of folks do the work or willing to stand on it. A. Philip, our great ancestor, A. Philip Randolph, said, and remember now, he also worked in civil rights with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, instead of reducing immigration to 2% of the 1890 quota, we favor reducing it to nothing. We favor shutting out the Germans from Germany, the Italians from Italy, the Hindus from India, and Chinese from China. And he even goes on to say, even the Negroes from the West Indies. And now we could probably put on there even the Africans from Africa. But anyway, he says the country is suffering from immigrant indigestion. That's coming from an ancestor that lived this already, you all. There it is. Yes, there it is. We've always had our ancestors, elders that was not supportive of immigration. And it didn't care what race, creed, or color they were. So when people try to state that we are being xenophobic, no, we standing on what is ours and what is ours here in our country. And ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. They don't like it. You don't get, hey, go build your country. Go build your country. Right? You're great. We know we great. Now, do you know you are great? Because you over here on our soil claiming something is yours that's not. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing that one because I'm gonna get to I'm gonna include Roy Beck in this. Roy Beck in the back of the hiring line. He was speaking about this, and I was blessed to meet Roy Beck and attend immigration school. He invited us to immigration school this past summer while we were in DC. I'm very thankful for that because I learned so much more from immigration school. But what I'm going to do, I want to play a snippet of where he was on a panel with some other Freedmen women. I take it was Freedmen women. And they are talking about immigration and the impact of immigration on Black Americans, right? So I just want to pull that one up, and then we're going to get into some more because we've had a great deal of our ancestors that were against immigration. From Coretta Scott King, we got Barbara Jordan. Y'all know we all about Barbara Jordan. She stated it, and she was very elegant in how she stated things, but she stated, hey, I got the video on my page. It's going to stay on my page. She breaks it down. And then we know we got our great elder, Dr. Claude Anderson. Got to bring up Dr. Claude Anderson. So we know he was out here doing the work. So let me get the panel with Roy Beck because I think that's important as this has been ongoing. Numbers USA, I've teamed up with Numbers USA many a times, and they are out here actually legislating. They're in DC. They're making sure that they go and set up app or website where you can literally go out and you can support them in any of the bills or legislation they are putting forth, or making sure that you support whatever legislation they are creating that they're putting forth towards immigration and limiting immigration. So let me see. Let me get Roy Beck up here. This panel, there's also another study that we could talk about as well with Roy Beck that was a part of this study where, wait a minute, I think he's a part of it, but I know, no, Dr. Carol Swain is a part of that study where they literally talk about the impact of immigration, whether it's legal or illegal, on Black Americans. Where is this video? Hold on. Now, as I look for the Roy Beck video, I do want to talk about how right now you have these individuals speaking as if we have to support immigration and immigrants, and like we will not be able to do anything without the support and help of immigrants. Now, I get we need allies. Yes, we need allies. Allies can come in the form of our politicians, right? Should be at this point in time. However, we know we don't have any representation via our politicians. They've gone rogue. Therefore, we must do it ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with us representing ourselves in the grassroots. I'm hoping more people will run for office because this is what's happening. We're seeing it happen. Many of them are coming here and getting into position. And I know we have been disenfranchised. I know we've been disenfranchised with politics. However, now it's 2025, and you all, this is a different time. So we're definitely got to do something different. So, okay, I do believe I've located, let's see, the video to share. What are some of y'all's thoughts about what's happening? Are you excited about the immigration moratorium? Because I'm excited. Let's see. I'm very excited about it. That means there's more opportunities for us to take advantage of. There's more opportunities for us to make sure that we are delineating, separating ourselves, ethno-aggregating, as Dr. Claude Anderson states it. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, I got one video that I wanted to play. Let's see. I want the one with Roy Beck. We'll come back to this one, because I want to make sure we put the stats in there about the how it's impacting us. Okay, here we go. We got the video with Roy Beck on the impact of U.S. immigration policy on Black Americans. I'm going to share my screen. We'll go with that, and then we're going to go to another video as well. And these are stats, research, and impact via the economics. And this is why we have to play politics, because politics is economics and economics is politics. It is what it is. I'm sharing my screen, and we'll begin with the this is about 8 minutes. So Roy Beck, founder of Numbers USA.
In a recent presidential debate, one of the candidates talked about mass immigration, open border, being an enemy of Black American workers. Much of the media responded in just amazement that something like that could be said. It can't be. And as usual, experts were trotted out to say that basically what people can see with their eyes is just not true. You can go to impoverished communities in South Chicago and various Black communities, urban communities around the country, and you look at what's happening there. And basically, the experts say, yes, but our econometric studies show us that that's not true. Your eyes are lying. You have lying eyes. This has been going on for decades in terms of ignoring what mass immigration has done to Black communities. And one of the big lies is that low immigration does not help Black communities. And this is where it's important to know the history. We do have some, I think, an increasing number of people who actually are changing their mind, coming out and speaking. Sir Angus Deaton, a Nobel Prize winning economist at Princeton, after a lifetime of referring to econometric studies and saying mass immigration is good for a lot of people and it has relatively small harm. He's come out and said, I changed my mind. I'm wrong. I'm busy looking at these econometric models instead of what you can see with your eyes. And he said historians have a better idea about what immigration does than does these high-level econometric studies. So it's important. We don't have to guess what would happen if we would lower immigration. We have had a couple of major pilot projects. One of the pilot projects was right after right after the Civil War, that wasn't a matter of having low immigration, but moderate immigration. Slaves were freed. And for about 10 years, Black Americans moved north, succeeded, rose the job ladder, started businesses, but in a deal that was intentional. In 1880, mass immigration was created at a whole new level. Of course, Reconstruction ended. The troops were pulled out of the South after 1876. And we went through a period of about 40 years of mass immigration in which not only did Blacks cease being able to move out of the South to go to jobs in the North, but Blacks in the North had to move back South. So that brings us to World War I. And I'll quickly just mention that World War I, Congress didn't save Black Americans on this, but I guess you could say the Germany and Italy did. But you had World War I, and World War I stopped the mass movement of Europeans into the United States. And so for 4 years, we had low immigration, and 500,000 Blacks moved out of the South to jobs in the North because the Northern industrialists needed the labor. They needed the labor so badly, they sent recruiters throughout the South to recruit. I mean, can you imagine today, Kathleen, if the big businesses around America needed labor so badly that they would send recruiters into the job deserts of urban communities around America and be recruiting. But they don't need to recruit now because our government provides them with foreign workers. Now, World War I ended, thankfully, but high immigration began again. And in 1923, just to remind you, in 1923, we still had about 90% of the descendants of American slavery still lived in the states of the Confederacy. And let's not sugarcoat it. At that time, this was an apartheid system, a legal apartheid system, in which most of the local governments turned a blind eye to vigilantism, to lynching. Most people lived and worked in poverty, and they couldn't leave because there was no place to go to. But in 1924, Congress passed an Immigration Act that slashed immigration numbers. And for the next 40 years, we saw an amazing transformation of the African-American population. We know what low immigration will do because we have the history of 1924 to 1965. It ended in 1965 because Congress started a new immigration program. They repassed mass immigration. About our history is that we don't have to guess. We don't have to do econometric studies. Historians can show us what happened. It's very interesting. In 1923, A. Philip Randolph, a leftist labor activist, one of the great Black leaders of the 20th century, he looked at what had happened with just temporary cuts in immigration. And he predicted that if we could have a long-term period of low immigration, he said that the Black Americans would experience better education, better housing, get voting rights, apartheid would end, and there would even be an end to lynching. And basically over the next 40 decades, it was slow, but some of it was slow. The economic progress was immediate, but the civil rights happened eventually over those 40 years. So these are the things that we know can happen. Barbara Jordan came along, headed a commission in the 1990s, and that commission basically came up with a plan that was very, very similar to what Black editors were calling for in the late teens and the 1920s. And that was, cut immigration way back.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. You hear again, Beck referring to historical situations where even historians and economists, even though he says, oh, we don't need the economists in these studies, we already know the impact of immigration on the freedmen, the Black Americans in this country. So we have there that advocacy. That's an ally. That is a real, true, living ally of Black American Negro freedmen, you all. Roy Beck, right? He's speaking the truth. He's speaking out about immigration and how it impacts our community. And he's referencing our ancestors and the work that they did, He's referencing them as well. So now when people talk about an ally, that's what I'm talking about with an ally. Now we're going to go to this right here, this other gentleman that literally, he will tell you, he went to the Congressional Black Caucus. What is wrong? I want to start it from the beginning. I don't know when. Hold on, I'm gonna restart it. There we go. Okay. So he even speaks about how he literally went to the Congressional Black Caucus to inform them on the impact of immigration upon the freedmen, Black American Negro freedmen community. They didn't care. And what you see happening right now is that, from what I understand, the majority of the Congressional Black Caucus are immigrants. Hence the reason why we cannot continue to utilize if Black is going to get us any legislation. We see how Black has been used to or weaponized against us for the immigrants right now in Congress. Okay, so let's
levels and employment levels. If you've got a significant levels,
okay,
Civil Rights Commission to conduct a hearing on this. And there were at least 3 hearings that we conducted, one of which was designed specifically to determine the effect of illegal Black workers. We had a panel of experts who testified, and they spanned the ideological spectrum. Regardless of whether or not they disagreed on discrete policy issues, each and every one of them agreed that negative impact on Black wage levels and employment levels. If you've got a significant influx of low wage labor, what does it do? It depresses wage levels, correct? And what we found also was, regardless of the wage levels, illegal immigrants displaced Black workers in areas that had traditionally been populated by Black workers. And the reason for that is because what you find is Black workers, particularly Black males, are disproportionately concentrated in the low wage labor market and are disproportionately likely to have no more than a high school diploma. And the same is true for the cohort of illegal aliens, and they compete with one another in areas such as construction, hospitality, service, and agriculture. This was not a small displacement either. We had one witness who testified that after he had run the numbers, he found that 40% of the decline in labor rates among Black workers over 3 decades was attributable to competition from illegal immigration. It comes to nearly 1 million fewer jobs for Black Americans as a result of the competition from illegal immigrants. And it's not just the employment levels, it's the wage levels also. And I can only give you a few examples, but we had evidence from the Fed in Atlanta, which did a study on this, to show that illegal immigrants depressed wages, the competition from illegal immigrants depressed wages by $960 on average. But in certain sectors, such as the hospitality industry, the depression of wage levels was $1,560. And because Black workers were disproportionately concentrated in those areas, they were disproportionately affected.
Now, on the screen, and we wonder why our Black men, our young Black men, we wonder why our young Black men are not working. And you claim they're just lazy and standing out on the street corner. No, they can't get a job because they're not being hired. Even if they went, they still wages are suppressed where they cannot even support themselves even when they're working all of these hours. Right? That's what I heard. And so when we talk about making sure our Black men are able to provide for their families, just having a job ain't gonna cut it, y'all. They got to make some livable wages to be able to support a family. I hope we can understand that. And you know, I'm kind of over, I'm hearing, oh, you know, they don't want to do better. They don't want to, no, they want to do better. And some of them have attempted to do better. When you have humanitarian parole for illegal aliens to come over here and they can go make sure they place into a job, and those that have served their time, right, incarcerated, the mass incarcerated have served their time, but they are still stigmatized, stereotyped, right? Where they can't get a job, they can't get housing. And then we wonder what's going on. And then they say, oh, this is our issue. Well, it is a created social engineering issue. Because no matter what, any and everything on this soil is ours. So it shouldn't be going to anybody else because they didn't work for it. It's not theirs. Okay, I'm going to keep saying it. But anyway, the other individual that I wanted to talk about that was speaking on immigration and the impact, that is an ancestor besides Barbara Jordan. You heard Roy Beck speak about Barbara Jordan. I'll play her video here in a minute. But we know that Toni Morrison, if you all don't know, she did speak on immigration. I post some of her statements from an article that she wrote in 1993. Let me see. Let me go to it. I'm going to go to it right here. She stated in her article that it's off the backs of Blacks. And this is a timing article. I've referenced it before. And she speaks about how all they have to do is come to America, and to be included is to go against us. And and the use of the N-word. And how often do we see that? I'm doing my own study, you all, on X. Show people how often these people will use the N-word. It says it doesn't matter anymore what shade the newcomer's skin is. A hostile posture toward resident Blacks must be struck at the Americanizing door before it will open. Right? This is something we see quite often. We now have human immigrants going around saying the N-word. I have a problem with it. And she just stated what's really going on. She reinforced it. So, you know, with that, we have Barbara Jordan. I'm gonna go to Barbara Jordan. The video here on my page, it's gonna stay up there. I'm all about it with her. Barbara Jordan did not mince her words. She states it very eloquently. But at the end of the day, this ain't yours, and nothing here you are entitled to. So we're going to play that video just real fast for those that don't know or have not or not acquainted with Barbara Jordan. I'm going to play this so you all can hear it and see it for yourself. She stated this in a hearing, and it was on C-SPAN when they were talking about immigration and the impact of immigration. I'm going to play Barbara Jordan for us. So here we go. I'm going to play her, and then we're going to get to her thing, and I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I don't like to do the podcast too long because I'm hearing people like the information. However, they can only do so much. And I get it. We can only process so much information. Real processing of historical information, right? Sometimes it takes us a moment to grasp it, but here we go.
Illegal aliens don't have the right to be here. They broke the law to get here. They never intended to become a part of our social community, and they are to benefits. If a person is here unlawfully, he should be entitled no benefits. No benefits. If illegal aliens require other aid, then that aid should be granted in their own country. Illegal aliens don't have the right to be here. They broke the law to get here. They never intended to become a part of our social community, and they are not entitled to benefits. If a person is here, he should be entitled to benefits. No benefits. If illegal aliens require other aid, then that aid should be granted in their own country.
All right, I played this so y'all could hear that. Make sure you heard it right. She said they are not entitled to anything in America. Illegal aliens. And what have they been getting? Everything. Red carpet rolled out for them. And housing. Scott Turner was just talking about how they have discovered that in HUD housing, monies were paid for them to secure homes. I'm sorry. I'm hyped. I'm hyped about that. Because our people out here on the street. And there's no reason why our people should be on the street in the most wealthiest nation in this country that we have did the work. The work ethic. And okay, and I know people want to come back and say, y'all didn't build America. Oh, hold on. Where were you in the 247 years prior to the inception of America becoming a country? Then even once America became a country, what ancestors do you have that was building railroads? But I'm gonna show you all something else on my screen. I'm gonna get ready to shut it down because I've been out here for almost an hour and a half already. But I want to show something else, that when people try to tell us that we do not have any equity in this country, we all should be checking them real quick, real fast. Because first of all, we know they don't have any equity in this country. We already know they have not done anything but came here for handouts. And apparently, most of the illegal aliens knew to come here during the Biden administration because they knew the red carpet was rolled out for them. That's why that man was in that Chicago City Council meeting talking about no more money for you. Y'all remember that? Telling the people of Chicago, no more money for you. And he was most likely an illegal alien. That's so disrespectful. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen to this. So when they say that we don't have any contributions to America, I'm going to go to this first one. I post this one quite often. Because we already know they don't have any standing in this country. Right? Illegal at this point. That's why I'm mad, because some of they're the ones causing all of this chaos and havoc because they're making sure they bring the people over here and take over America. You heard Steve Bannon said, you heard some others say it. It's the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is the party of immigrants. But I want to show this to people. Says the construction of the president's house began in 1792 in Washington, D.C., a new capital situated in sparsely settled region, far from a major population center. The decision to place the capital on land ceded by two pro-slavery states, Virginia and Maryland, ultimately influenced the acquisition of laborers to construct its public building. Okay? I want y'all to read this. Go look at it. It's on the White House Historical Association website. And it's and you see it, whitehousehistory.org. The DC Commission charged by Congress with building the new city under of the president, initially planned to import workers from Europe. Wait a minute. Y'all hear me? Initially, they plan to import workers from Europe to meet their labor needs. However, response to recruitment was dismal. And soon they turned to African Americans, both slave and free, to provide the bulk of the labor that built the White House, the United States Capitol, and other early government buildings. There it is, written for everybody to see. Okay? It said free and enslaved. The bulk of the work. And on top of that, you all, we have a Freedmen's building in downtown DC annexed to the Treasury. We're the wealth of this nation. And in everything here, when I opened, is ours. And we're going to get ours. I'm all about us getting ours. And I'm not here to, right now, I'm not about sharing anything. We get what's ours. Autarky, autonomy, independence. We have capital, we have resources, and we've already created many opportunities. I'm going to go over some of the industries that we've created opportunities in that now they're here scamming. Construction. We just talked about that one. We already know that that's going down, right? Landscaping, plumbing, bricklayers, carpentry. Come on now. We've been all of this. We can. So when that being in that video in the beginning of that I played was talking to the black man, and then he has to come in and say he has to be the bearer of bad news, that we can't live around each other, we can't build, we can't do anything. We already built this nation. A lot of us already live around each other. I live around my people. I was raised around my people. I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, okay. So the other thing I have to show you all is, and then we're going to get back to the industries, but I have to show you this because a lot of people do not know and understand that it was our ancestors that saved America. And what I mean by that? What I mean by that is during the Civil War, I call it, well, today say they are balkanized right here on American soil. What I mean by that, basically, you have Europeans fighting each other because they can't get along. Now they come to this soil and they can't get along. You got more of them now here on the soil fighting one another, and they are in politics. Right? But back then, it was still happening, but the term balkanization wasn't a term. But they were fighting each other. And what I mean by that, the Civil War. Confederates, the Union, right? Hence the reason why the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, because this is from a sitting president, Abraham Lincoln, y'all. You can go to his presidential library. You'll see it right there, presidentlincoln.illinois.gov, to retrieve this information. And this says, this is what he said: my paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or to destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. But what I do about slavery and the colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save the Union. I have here stated my purpose according to my view of official duty, and I intend no modifications of my oft expressed personal wish that all men everywhere should be free. Now, or could be free. Well, no. He had to recruit the colored troops, free and enslaved, to save the Union, to save America. And they beat the Confederates, right? He had to get the slaves free and enslaved to come be a part of the colored troops to fight the Confederates and help the Union to save America. Don't let nobody take you off your land. Don't let none of these people come over here and punk you off of what's yours. And you are entitled. We are, as freedmen, entitled to any and everything on this soil. And we need to be making sure we get our resources. We retrieve our capital. Right? Because that's where I'm at. Come on, y'all. What you afraid of? Ain't nothing to be afraid of. It's yours. We don't need to be talking from a place of lack. Now, the industries. Back to the industries. And I'm going to close out. Healthcare. CNAs, nurses, doctors. We got Black men that actually decided to implement or become paramedics in healthcare. They literally, they went and trained under a man in Australia, brought it back here to the United States. That's where you get your paramedics from in the healthcare industry. You had a nurse by the name of Bessie Blunt Griffin in World War II that created the feeding tubes for the soldiers so they could eat as they were recuperating, rehabilitation. Come on now. Woo! You got now one of the things, Otis Boykin created the transistor in the pacemaker. That not only did he create something that could be used in the pacemaker, it's used on your TV remote control right now. It is used to guide missiles. Come on, y'all. Come on now. We're not finna sit here and and allow others to come into America and tell us we're not capable of having and running our own nation. No, you're not. Not here. Transportation. We know McKinley Jones. I think, wait a minute, I'm missing his first name. Refrigerated trucks. Y'all know who I'm talking about? How we got refrigerated trucks right now transporting frozen foods and vegetables, fruits and vegetables that need to be cold. Come on, I want to give our ancestor the right name. Let me, I know it's McKinley Jones. Let's see. Frederick McKinley Jones, right? Look him up. We got all of this. You gonna tell me we can't run a nation? He crazy. He cray. Okay, Richard Spikes. Not only did he create the automatic braking system that you use in your automatic cars today, driving your car today, he created automatic gear shift. And then on top of that, you all, if you didn't know, he created the beer tap keg, bought by Miller Brewing Company. These people don't know who they talking to. Okay, and then I'm gonna get off the last one. We know about the gaming consoles. We know we got a lot of gamers. I do. What's his name? Jerry Lawson with the gaming console. We got not Reverend, but we got Dr. Mark Dean with the PC computer and peripherals. And then we can also talk about Henry T. Sampson. Y'all look him up. He created the gamma beta cell, right? and that's been utilized in nuclear energy. The gamma electric cell been utilized in nuclear energy today. So when these people talk crazy to us and tell us, oh, you can't run no country, you can't do nothing and live around each other. Ain't nobody killing each other like that. That's what they want to believe. But we know what they've been doing. And we see many immigrants coming on this soil right today, legal and illegal, killing their families, killing us, our people. They're in, and oh my gosh, human trafficking, pedophilia. So some of these things I do believe we separate and ethno-aggregate, delineate, we'll be able to control a lot more of this ourselves, right? We'll definitely be able to make sure we have jobs for our people. And we're hiring our people. We have businesses for our people, ran by our people. So I don't fall into believing that we can't do nothing or that we're not capable when basically we built America. We built America, we developed it, and we've advanced it into a first world nation. Without us, America wouldn't be what it is today. Point blank, period. So that was my reasoning for holding this space or this live. That really pissed me off with what he said. And the fact that these people really want to come at us and talk to us crazy when we are Americans. We are the Americans that have basically made America run. We are what make America great. And we are not benefiting from it, though, because the immigrants keep coming here and this history of immigration. Right? We heard it. The history of immigration in this country continues to stifle us, the Americans, the freedmen. And everybody else gets to come here and plunder our wealth. They get to come here off the backs of the Black American Negro freedmen and rise and try to keep us at the bottom and receiving nothing of what is ours. After we have exemplified the work ethic, right? We have the innovations and inventions and the allegiance and the loyalty to this country, besides of making sure that this country has a culture, an American culture. We're a part of that, right? So with that, you all, I just wanted to talk about that because that video was very triggering for me, in that now we have these beings on the soil now attempting to rewrite history and claim that it is a nation of immigrants that built this country. And then on top of that, we have the lies being spread that that Trump administration is not really attempting to get rid of the immigrants. They're not doing anything that's going to help the Black Americans and the immigration issue. We know that's a lie. You heard Stephen Miller, that's a part of the Trump administration, literally state immigration moratorium. We've had the president to state he's putting a pause on immigration. And this includes the entire system. This is not just illegal, but this is also any of the H-1Bs. You have Andy Ogles in Congress. You have others, Chip Roy in Congress, that are literally right now pushing legislation to put immigration on pause, AKA immigration moratorium, and remove or repeal the Hart-Celler Act. So do not believe any of the rumors and the propaganda that you are hearing that this administration is not working on immigration to make sure that it is a done deal, right, for a while for us. And we can campaign as well. We can say, hey, Trump administration, we're all for immigration moratorium. It is impacting our community, which he already said it. I was there when he said it. However, for some reason, our people don't want to understand that we have a sitting administration and a president that is all about Americans first. And it's an opportunity for us to get into our rightful positions. And I'll keep saying that. So with that, you all, I've gone over my hour and a half. I really appreciate you all joining the live. I encourage you to please, please, please sign the petition. I will post it on X under this live, and then also it's posted on the Freedmen channel. With that, you all, I'm signing off, and I appreciate it. Love, peace, happiness, and reparation.